Yo, what's up? This is Sonja Ramirez coming back to you. I totally fucked all that up. What's up, everybody? This is Sonja Ramirez with Opposites
We're going to keep it going?
I'm sitting next to, who am I sitting next to today?
Miguel
Where are you going to be
Ramirez.
today? You going to be Miguel Ramirez today? All right. Very good. What's up, everybody? I had some wine, just a little bit. My husband tricked the shit out of me today.
Yeah, I do. I do like to do a couple things to trick you.
You do. I like your surprises.
Well, no, these tricks are so you have no idea what, like.
It's because he's a cheap ass.
So this is what it was.
Yeah.
I bought Sonja.
Take a listen, women. Take a listen.
Sonja wanted some wine.
My wine, by the way.
And they didn't have it. They were out. So I was looking for it.
So supposedly
he
said it. I'm not quite sure if they were out.
I've been going to Costco and I've been seeing these boxes of wine. And people that know me know that I only drink the finest boxes of wine.
Oh, my God.
So they had a Kirkland, which is Costco brand.
In a box, you guys. In a freaking box. I remember my mom used to drink wine from a box. And it was the cheapest wine they had.
Well, it doesn't mean that this is the cheapest. But anyway, this is the thing, is that I know Sonja, and she's going to be talking shit if I show up with a box of wine. So I threw it in the fridge, and then when you went upstairs, you hadn't even seen it.
No,
so
I was looking for it, and I couldn't find a bottle.
Exactly. So when you got upstairs, I'm like, hey, you want some wine? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I crack open the box of wine and I pour her a glass. And she has no idea that it came from a box. And then I ask her, I'm like, hey, do you like it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to be
like,
an asshole. I mean, it tastes like red wine. It does.
Oh,
it tastes
so now
like
you're
going to
say it tastes like shit.
No, it tastes like red wine. But how you can tell the difference, if I wake up dying tomorrow, guess what? It was the wine in the box. And I don't want to wake up sick tomorrow. So we'll see. Hey, I'll give it a try. I'm not complaining. He was great. He was thoughtful enough to bring me a box of wine.
Yeah. And tomorrow you'll be.
I better not be. I better not be.
We may all be, or at least me and you.
Anyways, you guys, I just want to wish all you mommies out there a happy Mother's Day. It's the day before Mother's Day, and seriously, I know you laugh at this shit, but being a mom is the hardest job out there. It really is.
And for those of you that haven't seen Bill Burr's bit on the hardest job in the world, look that up on YouTube.
Shut the fuck up. It is. Because you never know.
I might share that tomorrow.
Listen, when you're working a job, you know if you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know if you're getting your shit right. Because if you're not, guess what? You're going to get fired. As a mom, say a stay-at-home mom, okay? And your focus is raising these kids. You really don't know how they're going to turn out. You can only do the best you can for what you know.
Yeah.
Because being, like, for us, I mean,
they could still turn out fucked up.
Right. Like, you just never know. And it's just it's a very stressful but rewarding job. It drains the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And you know this because, I mean, you've been staying home. Like, you're very involved with the kids.
Yeah.
So you understand it. You get it.
Yeah.
Because you do work, but you also come home and you help as well.
Yeah.
You know, with the kids. So
I work and then I come home and yell at the kids. So
think about someone who does it full time. Like, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm talking about that's all they do. You get to leave for 8 hours. Not now because you're working from home.
Yeah.
But normally you get to leave the house.
Yeah, but kids go to school.
You get to escape. I mean, yeah, so the kids, but there's some moms that stay home with little ones.
There's some moms that stay home and their kids go to school. So hooray for those moms.
Hey, fucker. Yeah, but they are the ones cleaning that. I'm talking about there's husbands out there that think that their job is it. And then they come home, shoes off, clothes on the floor. They're done for the day.
Yeah.
And they don't pick up a utensil.
Yeah.
or help set a table or do laundry.
Like the good old days.
Like they time. Do I got a
no,
weapon?
No, don't hit me.
Is there a weapon around here? But it is.
No,
it's a very difficult job. It's a rewarding job. You know, so
definitely happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there that are listening.
Yes.
You know, obviously, like we all came from our mothers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Without us, you wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't exist.
Yep.
No, but I never, just to be very open and honest, I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to have children. And it wasn't that it was just because of the environment that I grew up in and seeing my mom struggle and how difficult it was to be a single mom. And, you know,
well, it's kind of like, when was it? Earlier in the week, we were talking about our old dog, Fraser.
We went from being parents
to
having a dog.
I just want to, like, all moms out there, moms that are listening, are just like our old dog, Fraser. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we were talking about Fraser, how we were talking to the kids, and it hurts, like, that we lost Fraser.
Yeah.
But would you rather not have ever had Fraser?
It's love.
And I don't know, you can answer better than me, but it's like being a parent can be tough when you're freaking trying to get kids to do things and they don't listen and they make messes and you're wondering if you're doing the right things, and then you punish them and then you're like, oh, I fucked up. And like, it's tough, but at the same time, it's like super rewarding and fulfilling. Like the love that you get from the kids is worth everything that we deal with.
Yeah.
Right? As a parent.
I agree.
Or as a mom.
I agree. I can't imagine being a single parent. You know, for those of you moms who are doing it alone, and maybe dads that are doing it alone, like, it's just, I can't imagine being a single parent. That's today, like, I give my mom so much respect because she did it.
Yeah.
Like, she did it. And going through everything that she gone through and just jumping hurdles and obstacles and being able to be where she's at today. And I'm so grateful for her.
And always figuring out a way to make it happen.
Yeah. And it may have not been, you know, perfect, you know, but she did it. She did it. And I just can't imagine being a single parent out there. You make it so much easier.
Yeah. Thanks, babe. Well, it's Mother's Day, so thank you. Don't try to thank me on Mother's Day. What's wrong with you? Thank you, babe.
Anyways, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. And I've been pretty fortunate to have my mom. My mom's in Florida, and I love you to death, Mom. We all love you. And, like, she's just been incredible. And she's always, like, we talk to her all the time, and the kids are always talking to her, and she comes to visit. And, well, she usually comes here. You've been to Florida more than I have, because you I'll stay here and work and you go. Yeah. But that's been a while too.
Yeah.
But no, we love my mom to death. And then we also have my stepmoms, Christina, that I grew up with, and Ingrid. And I was fortunate to have them, and also my grandmother. My grandmother.
How did that work? You've had so many women to nurture you. Like, you had you had two stepmoms.
Yes.
And then your mom, and then your grandmother.
So, well, when I was first, my parents split up before I can remember. So I don't have a memory really of my parents being together. But I would go visit my mom on the weekends, and during the summer I would go visit. But then my dad got remarried with my stepmom, Christina, and then we have my half brother and sister.
Yeah. She's been sending us a lot of pictures
she's awesome.
lately.
She's so great. Yeah.
With you and her little ones. And it's so great to see. Like, she seemed like she was very involved in your life.
And,
you know?
And I say my half brother and sister because that's what it is. But to me, there is no difference.
Yeah.
Like I have my half brother and sister, and then I also have my step brother.
Yeah.
And there is no difference to
See,
me.
I don't
like
even call them
I
that.
love them all.
Yeah.
Like they're my brothers, my
Right.
brother and sister.
Yep.
Like all of them. There's no difference.
Right.
So yeah, so then my dad and my stepmom Christina split up, and then that's when my other younger brother Alan moved in with Ingrid,
Mm-hmm.
and I was with my dad and Ingrid until I believe about 16,
Mm-hmm.
15, yeah, about 16, and 15, 16, and I pretty much like those years of growing up, I was with Ingrid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I moved to Florida with my mom and finished up high school and then joined the military. So I lived with my mom for the last couple of years before I moved out. But every one of them, you know, has been
That's what I was going to ask you.
special.
Like, what kind of impact did they make on you as a young boy?
It's all been
Because that would be, I mean, for me, that would just seem, I mean, my mom, you know, going through what she went through, just having, you know, individuals like my stepdad, he's absolutely amazing. And he's made me realize that, I don't know, a step parent with what they go through,
yeah.
they grow through a lot, and just being there for me and teaching me and showing me, he had a lot of influence on me.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of influence did your moms have on you? Because every one of them were different.
Yeah. No, and they were.
What did you learn from them?
They were all great. And I think with Chris, like my mom, she's my mom. She'll always be, you know, my mom, number one.
Yeah.
Like she's the best. And then also Christina is very special just because when I was little, I don't remember not being with her, because as far back as my memories go,
Mm-hmm.
I have memories with her.
Right.
You know, because I was so young when my dad met her. And then Ingrid it was tough because I was already a little bit older.
How
know?
old were you?
I think I might have been like 11, 12,
Ooh,
something like
must
that.
have been tough.
So
you were with Christina for a few years.
I think, or I might have been a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Okay, so you didn't have a lot of time with Ingrid because you left to the Air Force.
Well,
when you were how old?
no. We had. Well, I mean, if I was 12 years old, it was still like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was great. And then my grandmother too. Whenever I would get out of school, and she was also like my mom. You know, so
Man, you were lucky.
So when it's Mother's Day, I got a lot of phone calls to make.
No, I'm like, wait, what are you doing, man? You've been in there for like an hour.
It's like I'm calling my mom. You're like, I thought you already called your mom. I was like,
I'm calling my other mom.
Leave me alone.
I
gotta
was
call
so
my mom.
confused. I was so confused when I met him. I'm like, wait, you have how many moms? Like,
Yeah.
what? I'm like, holy crap, I have a lot of work.
Oh man, and you know my little brothers and sisters, like I love them so much, and it's so cool when Christina will send us pictures.
Yeah,
like pictures of me holding George and he's a baby. You know, it's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. No, my mom's the shit. Like, she's been there for us. Whenever we need anybody, for the most part, like, she's been there for us. And the only person that's been there for us here in Arizona that can help us if, you know, like Miguel takes me out on dates every now and again with anniversary, birthdays, stuff like that. And we really don't have too many people that we could depend on. And my mom's, she's absolutely amazing. She's a very strong woman. And she's been there from day one, no matter what.
No,
you know,
and then
so.
anytime that like your birthday or whatever, you know, we're always doing something.
Yeah.
Like they do some.
Joey is very close with my mom.
Yeah.
Like that's just cool. He's very close with my mom. It's very cool to see them together and interacting. And she wrote something, and I know, you know, it's Mother's Day, right? But she posted something on Facebook. My mom's like all over Facebook. It's kind of funny. But she wrote something, and I want to share this because it's makes you realize, like, your kids, no matter how old they are, how different they are, like, you know, you love them. They're all the same.
Yeah.
Even though they're all different. Like Joey and Adriana.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
very different. And so the post that she put on Facebook says, a child is like a butterfly in the wind. Some can fly higher than others, but each one flies the best it can. Why compare one against the other? Each one is different. Each one is special. Each one is beautiful.
You see that?
Isn't that amazing?
That is. That's pretty awesome.
It is. And it's true. And I remember my grandmother used to tell her that your kids are just like your fingers. Like every finger, you know, it looks similar, but it's different in size. It's, you know what I'm saying? You love them all different, but you love them all the same.
Yeah.
It's kind of confusing when you say that.
Yeah, like that.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
But isn't that, I read that and I'm like, aw.
And then let's go to a post from my mom. Masks are the new bra. They aren't comfortable. You only wear them in public. People will notice when you don't wear one. And you can now get them in every color, pattern, and style.
That's funny. They're awesome. No, I love your mom,
They're both
man.
awesome in their own ways.
Right.
Just like our kids.
That's so funny. That is so funny.
So
Guess what? So Adriana, that girl, I don't know how. Like, I'm a pretty clean person. My mom's pretty clean. I grew up in a very clean house. I remember my mom making us empty all the cabinets out, wiping them down inside and out. I mean, just nuts. Cleaning the trim
on the walls,
on the walls, cleaning the walls, just all of it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I grew up. And my daughter is the total opposite. Like, she's just the
Tasmanian devil.
Yes. And so today, you know, the playroom's a mess, her room's a mess, just everything's a mess.
I was just thinking, the Tasmanian, is that like, that's a reference that me and you know, and a bunch of people out there know. But if you were to say Tasmanian devil to our kids or like
they
to a 15-year-old, they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
what the hell's a Tasmanian devil?
They have no idea.
But if you know what one is, that is our daughter.
So we decided, you know what? We have to have consequences. Like, I think we're easy parents.
We are.
Yeah, we're suckers. You're a sucker.
You're a sucker.
I am.
Yeah, I guess.
But, you know, I'm just like, this has to stop because it's nonstop every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And then we let her go play because we feel sorry for her.
It's not that we felt like I told her today to go, but I forgot. And then when you got home, you went and looked in her room and it was a mess. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot to check the room before she left, you know? And then we sent Joey to go get her and bring her home.
Yeah.
But
anyways, so our son he is the total opposite. Like, he'll make a mess every now and again, but I'll be like, Joey, you need to go clean your room. And he cleans it up. Like, no argument, nothing.
And you don't have to tell him, hey, pick that up over there. Hey, you missed that over there. Pick that up. Pick this up.
Okay.
Like, he gets it.
I'll give you an example. So we go into the playroom. We find this lunchbox, okay, that was given to her by my mom, by the way. And there's a box of cookies. It was empty. Like, they tore those cookies up. And the crumbs were in the lunchbox upstairs in the playroom. And I'm like, what in the world is this?
And then you look in the closet of the playroom and there's an empty cookie box in there.
Right. So I'm like, you know what? You're grounded. I'm taking your tablet away. And little Joey, my son, feels bad for her. And he's trying to negotiate with me. So I'm like, no, Joey. You know, I go into my room and he ends up in my room and he's like, Mom, listen, Audrey feels that you don't treat her the same or you treat her unfairly.
Yeah, like we treat the two kids differently.
Yeah, like, you know, you treat her unfairly and she wants you to treat her more like me. And I'm like, okay, well, you go tell her that if she wants us to treat her like you, then she needs to keep her room clean clean.
Like you. No, if she wants us to treat her like you,
Then she needs
to act like you.
Right.
And keep her room clean. And when we tell her to clean stuff up, she gets it all and cleans it up. And when she does that, then they'll be treated the same.
Right. And
It's
then
just
I
not the
started
same.
thinking about life. Then I started thinking about your associations, everybody around you.
Yeah.
You know, like you treat people the way
they deserve to be treated.
You deserved it. You said that.
Yeah.
You told me that.
Yeah.
You know, versus treating people all the same.
I'm glad you're finally starting. You know, it's been 12 years that we've been together, and finally you're getting it. Everything that
I'm gonna hit you over the head with this hourglass.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's true. It is.
I just don't know, dude. We need to lay the smack down.
Yeah.
We do.
Hey.
Because they just walk all over us because, you know, we feel bad. When we ground our kids, we feel bad.
It sucks because we want to play with them.
Yes. And then the other kid feels grounded too because the other kid can't play.
Yeah.
You
like
know
Joey
what?
can't play with Audrey when
We need
she's
a third
grounded.
kid.
Shut up.
I mean, a living third kid. Let's
We
go
could
adopt.
borrow
Can
a
we
kid.
practice?
We can practice.
Let's
We'll
practice. Oh my God.
But hey, I got a couple announcements. No, number one.
I know, right? About
we
it,
have
about the new.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
don't
know
be
about it.
surprising me.
So
on the-
we have a new affiliate for our podcast. I don't know if you would call it a sponsor, but we're affiliates with Libsyn.
you would. That's a sponsorship.
Libsyn, which is who we host our podcast with.
Yes, kind of.
And yeah, one thing that has become a lot more popular, especially since the quarantine. We've been doing it since before the quarantine. But if any of you want to start a podcast during the quarantine and you need a place to host your podcast, some place where you upload it and it gets distributed. And yes, you upload it. If you're watching on video, you upload the podcast and it gets distributed. And we use Libsyn. And if you guys want a free trial of Libsyn, if you guys are thinking about starting a podcast, you can go to libsyn.com, and that's libsyn.com. And when you click on sign up, if you click on sign up, it'll ask you for a promo code. And if you use the promo code OAP, Opposites Attract Podcast, OAP, it'll give you the rest of that month for free, and you'll get the next month for free.
Oh, very cool. There you go. That's awesome.
That's great. And you can give it a shot and see how you like podcasting for anybody that might be interested. Now, the best way to do it is if you sign up like on the second of the month, the second day, you're going to get pretty much that whole month for free.
Nice.
And the next month. If you sign up on the first, you'll just get that month for free. So after the second, you'll get the rest of that month plus the next month.
Yeah.
Libsyn, OAP.
That's super cool. And are you still going to move forward with making videos on how to?
Yes. So that is another thing. I'm going to be working on making videos for YouTube and Facebook on how to start a podcast. Like exactly how to do it from the beginning to the end.
Nice.
How we record, how we edit, how we upload, how we publish, all of that stuff.
I
And
like upload. You should just do this.
How you upload. No. You guys got to watch the podcast on YouTube or
I was
Facebook.
talking to my mom, and she's like, I missed your last podcast. What was it about? She's like, the one before you guys were talking about, your, what did she say?
Our sex life?
Your sex life. I'm like, well, just skip that one. I'm like, if you look at the
Fast
title,
forward it.
just skip it. Fast forward.
You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. Do not listen to episode 69. For our moms, our parents, do not listen to episode 69 because we're planning that one out.
Oh, no.
We might be wearing leather, both of us.
Again, no.
We might not be able to talk because you're just going to be hearing trying to speak through the ball that I have in my mouth.
So, okay. So you're good with that. I'm going to buy you a ball. Anyways, do you feel that you have learned anything new about me since this whole quarantine? I mean, we've been spending, man, can I say that? Because we've been so busy, but we've been in the same,
have I learned anything new?
Yeah. Is there anything new? Maybe that's something that's driving you nuts about me that you learned, since we've been,
No, I still love you.
Oh, you're so sweet,
And
babe.
I think we're still good.
So I'm just asking because there's a lot of couples that are going through some really tough times right now.
Yeah.
You know, they've been spending more time at home, and it's like, who is this person that I live with?
Yeah.
And it's been said that there's like a lot of unhappy no homes right now.
Like they're making discoveries.
Right.
Yeah. It's like they didn't even know who they were living with.
Right.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone like that? A couple that's going through some difficult times right now.
I think this is number one. And this kind of ties into another announcement that I have. But number one, something that we've talked about from the beginning of our podcast, I believe, and the number one reason for the success in our relationship is the communication. That is number one, because I think when you have that, it spills into everything. It spills into everything, whether it's disagreements, whether it's finances, whether it's parenting, whether it's business, whether it's our podcast, whether it's cleaning up or you telling me to do something and me asking you to do something. You see how I say you tell me to do stuff and I ask you to do stuff. That's how it goes in our house.
But that could be something that's interfering with someone's relationship too.
It could be.
Because I had to be more aware of the way I spoke with you, because I have a very strong personality. I was, an independent woman. So I had to learn how to speak to you with respect and love.
Yeah.
Seriously.
She used to end every statement with, and if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out of my house. Hey, babe, can you get me some water? No, and if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out of my house.
I was not
no, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't like that.
No. What she used to end everything with, I paid for everything in this motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's serious. No.
Yeah.
The other day, what was it, baby? We got into a little disagreement, and it was me, and I apologized, but I don't remember exactly what it was for, but I had to take ownership of it. I came home. I was so stressed, and I was exhausted. And do you remember? You were sitting at the table.
At the dinner table?
Yeah, you were sitting in the kitchen, and I came out. I'm going to sound like an asshole right now. So I'm going to sound like the asshole right now.
I'll tell my asshole story next then.
So there's this rack, okay?
Oh, yeah.
That I wanted, and I was so excited about it because we have a huge single sink. And I wanted a rack to dry the dishes on, but not the one that takes up all the space. It just slides right over the sink, half the sink.
It rolls out.
Yeah, it rolls out. Super cool. I saw it. I was excited about it. I had to remind him 3 times to actually buy it on Amazon. And then he finally purchased it, and we get it, and I see it, and I'm like,
and it's a little short.
Yeah.
It doesn't stick out far enough for you to put stuff on it. It would just be nice if it was a little bit longer.
Yeah. And so it wasn't what I expected. And so instead of first saying, baby, thank you so much for ordering it, I really like it, but it's not what I thought. I thought it was going to be a different size. Instead of going at it that way, I just was I don't even remember how I responded, but I know that it wasn't from love. I was irritated. I was tired. I wasn't happy. You know what I'm saying? So I barked versus coming from the heart.
You were working. It was later in the afternoon. I think I was done working. I was done working.
Yeah.
You were done working. So we were both
exhausted,
just getting done working.
Yeah.
And yeah. And well, when you were coming at me, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, if you don't fucking like it, order it yourself. You have the Amazon app on your phone. You can look through it and order the shit.
But you responded to me the way I
came at
you. You wouldn't have responded that way if I would have said, thank you, baby. Thank you for ordering it. But it's not what I expected. Can you do me a favor? Can you see if they have, a different,
yes.
size?
And then I didn't tell you about this, but afterwards I was thinking to myself, I returned it and I ordered another one.
Right.
And I was just kind of thinking about it. when I returned it, like I just packed it up, put it in the box. It took me like 15 seconds. And then I got the label and I forwarded you the email. That took me like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to go and drop off the box. Well, not that you have to, but you go to UPS all the time for our business. So you're just going to drop it off when you go there anyway. It's not like any extra work. And then I just kind of thought about it and I was like, it really didn't fucking take me any extra work. Like I could just fucking do it and not have a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could have just been like, okay, I'll just like, and in less than 5 minutes, the other one would have been packed up. I would have had the label and I would have had the other one on order.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking afterwards.
You thought about that after I apologized to you, because I did. I said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have came at you that way. And once I softened up, then I think that's when you, right?
So through the communication, when you communicate enough, you will start to develop awareness of your partner. Like, oh, you know what? That's why she's acting like that.
Yeah.
Or that's why I reacted that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a self-reflection.
It was. Because then I realized, like, that was the way I responded was very harsh. And it was just quick. Like, yeah.
And the good communication also comes from, like, communication a lot of times is just, like, people think is just me saying stuff to you and saying it so that you can understand it, saying it properly, whatever. But it's also listening. Mm-hmm. That's the other half of communication is listening. And you get, once you do it for a while, you get that awareness, but you also start to get the empathy. Yes. Like you understand where they're coming from. Like just like you. Like you were like, well, maybe it's because I was working. He was working. I fucking snapped at him. He snapped back at me. But then after a little bit, we both kind of go through it. And then I kind of realized, you know what? It's not that much work. I can just do it and avoid this whole thing because we love each other. We don't want to fight, right?
But that, if we didn't have the communication down, that could have gotten ugly. Because you did come back strong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I deserved that because of the way I came at you.
Yeah.
Because your response would have not been that way if I would have said, oh my God, baby, thank you so much for ordering. And me looking at it and being like, I was thinking it was going, you know what I'm saying? I was thinking that the measurements were going to be different.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, can you order the size up? If I would have came at you like that, you would have not barked at me the way you barked at me. Yeah. Instead, you're like, you can fucking do it to your own self.
You know what?
You didn't say it that way, but the way you reacted was like, you know what? I'm fucking done. Fuck you. Yeah. I was trying to do something nice to you, and you come at me being a bitch.
You
didn't say all that. No. You didn't say all that.
No,
but
I wouldn't.
It would have been totally different if I would have came at you that from love from the beginning. Yeah. Love and respect, because that's all a man wants is love and respect.
That's what everybody
and
wants.
That's what BJ every once in a while. No, stop.
You got to be careful. I'm quick with the
I know, that's the only one man.
But no, you know what? That also, it brings up another announcement, another point that I want to make. Or, yeah, it's an announcement. Something that we're going to be working on is a little ebook or an e-booklet.
Oh,
it's not an ebook because it's not going to be like really long. But it's going to be an e-booklet, and it might be a few pages, maybe 3, 4, 5. We don't know exactly yet because we still have to type it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to put a little thing together with tips and things that we have found helpful for us. Like little lessons that we've learned in our time and books that maybe have helped us and things that we recommend. Mm-hmm. And we're going to put it all together. And then once we have it all together, we'll let you guys know, and we'll let you know how you can get it.
Yes.
And it'll be free.
Yes. So, hey, I weighed myself and I'm like down 5 pounds.
Are you?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Take away the cereal. The pounds start to shed.
Yeah, you'd be surprised when you don't buy when you don't buy 6 boxes of Captain Crunch.
So yesterday, like, I don't know why. I've just been I'm like, you know what? I need to spoil myself because I have been busting my ass lately. Like,
you have. Seriously.
It's just, and I'm saying this because I usually don't, but I've been doing good.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I want some carne asada, and I'm gonna make this. Like, I'm gonna marinate this. I'm gonna make me some shrimp cocktail. Make us some shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, we
and I'm
tore
gonna
it
go
up.
buy me a 6-pack of Dos Equis, and I am going to chill because I deserve this. And I think that's the one thing that I have not done. Like, when I have wins, I don't celebrate my wins.
You know what? There is the class that I'm taking, or that I was taking, that I just finished up for my my black belt, the 6 Sigma black belt. One of the things that they tell you is at the end of a project to take some time to celebrate.
Yes.
They say, like, when you have a big project, when I was going through that green belt class and that black belt class, they said that when you complete a project, you know, you have to take some time to reflect on what you did well. I think it's called a hansei. It's a Japanese word. I can't remember. I don't know, even though I'm getting my black belt. But I think it's called a hansei. It's pretty much just the word for reflection.
Yeah.
So you take some time to reflect, and then you celebrate the work that you did.
And it doesn't have to be like a huge win.
No.
Okay. This is something that we need to start doing, all of us. You know, if it's something that say you have a list of things that you need to accomplish, and you accomplished, 2 things on that list, but you're so busy throughout the day that those 2 things took some time and took some energy. You have to celebrate you. You really do. You need to celebrate you.
And if you don't have a list, get a list.
Right.
Like, you need a list of things to do.
Like, so I did a signing the other day. And
I'm
it's
just
so
saying,
funny.
like, it's tough. Like, that was my New Year's resolution, and I've been trying to get back on using the list. But it does make you so much more productive.
Good. Yeah.
So much more productive. Like, it keeps you on track. Like, okay, I got to do this. And then because if you don't, you're just fucking around all the time. And then you're like, dude, I was supposed to do that.
Right.
And I was supposed, and shit, I still got all kinds of stuff to do.
And this isn't just business. This isn't just work. I'm talking about things that need to be done around the house.
What? Open up.
What? What's going on?
You're banging.
It's things even around the house. So one of my clients, I went and she had a list of things that she needed to work on around the house. And so she has this list, and she has like little check marks. Everything that she completes, she checks.
Yeah.
But great. Don't forget to celebrate that though.
Yeah.
Because that does take
You have
energy
some wine
and
at the end of the
time.
night
And
celebrate.
For reals. Like,
We've been
other day,
we've been celebrating.
Yeah, Miguel and I, we go in the backyard and we lay down on our lawn chairs, and we just stare at the sky and appreciate where we are. Where we are. So Miguel and I have been on this, what do you want to call it? Like this.
I think it kind of started. Well, it started with that show
venture, this strange rock, where it talks about Earth, the planet, just everything.
And then you've been reading that book, One New Earth, or
New Earth,
The New Earth.
Yeah, The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle,
or A New Earth.
A New Earth, whatever, motherfucker. A New Earth, The New Earth. Now you're gonna make me look it up because you're driving me bananas. So let's get this correct.
Actually, my little brother was telling me that that's one of his favorite books.
Is it really?
And
podcast audio.
You keep saying, I have it written down.
A New Earth. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
You've been saying The New Earth for so long.
Have I?
Yeah.
Well, correct me.
I didn't know. Well, he told me, and I'm doing it now.
Okay, so A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
I just waited till the podcast so that everybody could hear me correct you.
Awakening to your life's purpose. I love it. Whose favorite book is this? George?
I'm
talking to George.
Not favorite, but or it may be. But he said that it was one of the books that he read. Like, he loved it.
Really?
He loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
So I need to talk to him because I've been trying to get you to listen to this, and you're not listening to it. And I need to speak to somebody who I can converse with regarding the audio.
You've been telling me to listen to it. I am going to listen to it. It'll be the next book that I listen to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he also talks, about it as well. And it's funny because my sister and I, we went on, I'm helping her giving her some training on becoming a notary, and she already has her notary stamp and all that good stuff.
That's
so she's
awesome.
going to be actually one of my notaries in my agency, and I'm so excited for her. Very excited for her. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
And so I took her to 2 of my signings, and on the way home, I looked up, and the moon, full moon, bright as shit. And I look at the moon, and I'm just filled with awe and being just grateful for where we are. And I tell her, I'm like, hey, do you see the moon? And she's like, yeah. She's like, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, this is amazing. You know? Yeah. And he talks about like when you see the moon, when you really see it. And
when you understand. No. It's not when you see the moon. It's when you understand. When you understand, because you could just look up in the sky and be like, oh, cool, the moon. Like you see it.
Yeah. But it's just the moon. It's just the moon.
But when you understand, I think a lot of it came from that show, A New Earth, and then the book that you're listening to. For me, also having that telescope, and then teaching the kids about space. Like we've been reading that space book for a little while now, and we're getting down to the end of it. But like you start reading and learning about this stuff, and you're like, holy shit! Like that's the moon. And that thing is like there, and then the sun is this big. Like it's just for the, you know what, you guys want to get your mind.
To explain.
Yeah, it's so hard.
It really
to
is hard to explain. It's hard to.
If you want to have your mind blown, get into astronomy a little bit.
Mind blown.
Yeah, insane.
But when we see it, we feel it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, we feel it.
So this is a thought that I had yesterday. Like we're sitting down and it may come off a little, I don't know, negative, I guess, to religion or whatever, but it's the truth, man. Like we're sitting out there and it's getting dark, and the stars are starting to come out, and you can see Venus. Like right now, if you guys look up, you can see Venus. It's the brightest star in the sky. And in that space book that I've been reading the kids, it'll tell you that Venus is the brightest object in the sky that we can see, aside from the moon.
Yeah.
And like I'm just sitting there and then learning about this, like our entire solar system, how tiny it is compared to the Milky Way galaxy.
Right.
Like we're just like the Earth is a dot compared to the size of sand. It's like a speck of sand compared to the size of the sun. Our entire solar system, all the planets, everything is like a speck of sand inside the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah.
And that is one galaxy of many galaxies.
Yeah.
So when you start thinking about that, it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So we were sitting outside yesterday, and I'm thinking about all this stuff. And then I start thinking about religion. And I look up in the sky, and I'm like, so you're going to tell me that you know how all this works. Like, you know how this was all done. This was all set up. And I'm like, that's fucking, like, look out there. Tell me you know how all this works. That is crazy.
So while he's thinking this to me, I'm looking up in the sky and I feel God. I feel an energy way bigger than you and I. To me, I'm looking up, and this is so powerful and so spiritual, and no one can explain the galaxy and how it was put together.
You see, I feel the same thing. I feel the exact same thing without the religion side of it.
Yeah.
That's crazy, huh?
It is.
It's
crazy. It is because I'm engulfed with it. Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, and I feel God. I feel the energy throughout my body.
It's insane.
And it's so hard to explain, but we're having the same, like we're feeling the same, but yours is like totally scientific and mine is very spiritual, and
then I get angry. I'm like, and you're going to tell me that you know how this works?
Can't tell you that.
I'm just kidding. No, but look it up.
I can tell you that there's something bigger than you and I, whatever it is, that freaking put it all together. I mean, I can't tell you. Because I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I feel is what I feel.
Yep.
I don't know.
So you were talking when you were talking about the moon and all that, and you were talking about how you were with your sister and you guys were talking, and you're helping train her to become a notary.
Yeah.
And this is something that I was thinking about today. I was on my way to Costco or coming back, and I was just like, we spend a lot of time it is really cool. Like, just to spend some time thinking about stuff, thinking about everything. Think about everything. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, a good way to live, I guess, or at least this is just what I was thinking, is think, act, reflect, and redo. And if you do that with everything, you'll be good. Yeah. Just think, act, reflect, and redo.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we think of great things, think of great ideas, and oh my God, but you never act.
We don't act. Yep.
And then sometimes you think and you act and then you fuck shit up.
Yeah.
And then you think and you act and then you fuck it up again. Because you've never went back and reflected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember when I started Trust Inc.?
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Because I was up like late, like 2. I could not sleep. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting the brochures together, like getting the cards together. I was super excited. And it was annoying. It was annoying to you for a little bit.
No, you know what? It is awesome. It's awesome because you've done it. We've done it. We've done it with so many things. We've done it. You've done it with your networking events. Like, you spent time and hours promoting events, and I've done it with music, like spending hours learning how to edit music and how to make things sound good. I spent hours with the podcast, spent hours, with the baby hats business. And I mean, but when
we've done so much together.
But when you really want to do something, you'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just focus. And did you think that it would get to where it's at today though? I didn't think, I didn't see where it was. When I did it, I seen it. I don't know, man. I saw the potential, but I did not see.
I see things way bigger. We were doing it today. Like, earlier this morning after breakfast, I pulled up some houses. Like, I'm looking at houses that we can put a studio in. Yeah. Or no, not put a studio in. Like, I want a detached studio with a parking lot that's the goal. That's the goal, is to have a house with a property on the side that's attached to the property that I can get to, but that has an external parking lot that, we have a studio at. Yeah. And a chill spot with a couple offices, a place to edit and places to record, and a place where other people can come and record. Like, I mean, people that know me know that I'm always thinking of the next thing, something bigger. It's like, it's going to, it's just constant progression. You know what I mean? And that actually brings me to something that last week we talked about, all the lessons that we learned from network marketing, from Legal Shield, from our business, just like what we got from that. But one thing that I wanted to talk about this week was like a career. Like, there's the majority of people have regular jobs, and most of the people that listen to us probably have regular jobs. And we may talk a lot about business, and we think that it's an awesome idea. I think everybody should do something that they're passionate about on the side, have a side hustle, do something. I was just talking to my brother when I was at Costco, and my dad, I definitely got this.
What brother, baby?
My brother, Alan.
Okay.
The oldest of my younger siblings. And I definitely got this from my dad. Like, just the hustle, like always looking for some. He's selling masks.
Shut up.
He doesn't fuck around, babe. He doesn't.
He's selling masks, like he's sewing masks?
No, like he's buying them and selling them. And he's making money.
Yeah.
But that's always been, but this is one thing that I've always looked at my dad. I've always seen his hustle, but I've always seen that it's something like that. Like selling bootleg movies or selling polo shirts out of, a gym bag, or selling, masks. I always saw that and I was like, that's great that he has this hustle. But when I do it, I want it to be legit. Like, I want it to be a business that I can build on, a business that I can grow. I mean, you can only grow a bootleg movie business so much.
Right.
You can only sell shirts out of your gym bag for so much. And that may be a start. But if I'm selling polo shirts out of a gym bag, you got, like, for me, I'm already thinking about opening a store or an online, like, I'm trying to make this thing a legit thing. It's not just me selling stuff out of a gym bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was always my thought, is like, I want to hustle like that, but I want to do a legit thing that I can build on. But anyway, I digress from what I was talking about. But
he's been that influence.
He's been that. Yeah. He's always
in
done
your
that.
life.
Yeah. But what I was thinking is, as far as a career goes, like, how to be successful in a career, because this is something that I've also thought about, and something that, like we said, we learn from people around us. And with my dad, I remember being a little boy, and he was loading bags on an airplane. He worked as a baggage handler for American Airlines. And he was telling me about something that was going on at work, and he said something about a crew chief. Like, they have a crew of guys, and then they have the crew chief. He's kind of like the team lead or the shift supervisor. And this has been my mentality since a little boy. I was like, how do you become a crew chief? Like, what do you have to do to become a crew chief?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what he told me, but it was, I don't know if you got to take some extra classes or do some extra training.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, you do make some extra money, but you also have to take on a crap ton more responsibility.
Right.
And the responsibility is not worth the money. And I was like, oh, okay. But even as a little boy, I thought to myself, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't sound right to me. And you know what? And I've heard it throughout my entire career from other people. Like, right now, this is something that I'll tell you guys for working on your career. Like, you can start out doing something, starting from the bottom. Like, I started from the bottom of where I was. Like, I joined the military. I learned how to be a mechanic. And then I got hired as a sheet metal person. I had no sheet metal skills, and I learned as much as I could. I did the best I can, and I got really good at it. But once I picked up that skill, I started looking at, like, what's the next thing? And the next thing was being able to sign off somebody else's work. And this is where that came in, because people are like, I don't want that responsibility. They don't pay you extra for doing that.
Right.
And now you're taking the responsibility of signing off somebody else's work.
Right.
And I just saw it as, if layoffs come, if something was to ever happen, that gives me a leg up on other people.
Right.
I may not get paid extra, but it's worth something. So I'm going to do it. So I started working towards that, and I started working towards the next thing. And then I was like, you know what? How do I become a team lead? And team lead pays a little bit more, but you get a bunch more responsibility. Kind of like what? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And then they had, like, certification courses for this Six Sigma thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And then the black belt thing came up. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And then a job to become an inspector came up. Now, because I worked as an inspector, not getting paid any extra money, when a position in another department where they do pay a lot more money for being an inspector, I was able to get that job because of the sacrifice that I made before, because of what I learned before.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, in times like this, in times like today, when people are losing their jobs, or, like, let's say, you know, if something was to happen, there's a lot of things that I can fall back on.
Right.
Like, worst comes to worst, I can always go back to being an inspector.
Right.
I can always go back to being a sheet metal guy. Right. I can always go back to being a mechanic.
Right.
I can use that Six Sigma green belt that I got.
Right.
I can use the black belt that I got.
Right.
You know what? We're even doing a podcast, and this may be worth, this training, this skill that we're developing may be worth something. So those are 6 different jobs that I can get.
Right.
But if all you do is the same thing
Yes.
for 20 years or 30 years, and something happens, you're in trouble. Especially when you worked from the bottom to the top. Because if you get laid off and you lose that job and you have to go get another job, you're going to start at the bottom of that job again. You're not going to go, like if this job starts out at $15 an hour or $12 an hour and you work your way all the way up to $25, $30 an hour, well, you've been with that company for 20 years. That's why you're making that much money.
Right.
But if you get laid off and you don't have any other skills and you still have the same skill set from when you started 20 years ago, when you look for another job, guess where you're going to start?
From the bottom.
You're going to start from the bottom and you're going to have to work your way all the way back up.
Right.
Unless you have other skills.
Yep.
So always, I feel when it comes to a career and having like a corporate job, kind of like what I have, is always look for that next thing. Figure out, and it's a selfish thing. Like people may be like, oh, look at the company, man. Like, oh, another thing that I did, like I did tours around the facility and people would look at me and be like,
who in the hell
why are you doing that? Oh, look at him fucking kissing ass and this and that. And it's like, well, guess what? When fucking layoffs come, and guess what? There's people that are worried now. But I'm not that worried because I know worst comes to worst, there is something that I can do. Something, anything.
Right.
I'll be all right. I'll be able to get a job doing something because I've done so many different things.
Right.
And
well, like your manager, I think it was your manager, said that you're his, what did he say? You're his
I'm his Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, out of the team of people that I work with, I'm the only one that has experience in certain things. So when something like that comes up, they're like, hey, call Miguel. Right. And I'm brand new, to the team. So
yeah,
it's very useful, very handy. And I think that's something that you and this is the thing, is that you there's no way that you'll see that when you're doing it. Yeah. Just understand that when you have an opportunity, you may not know what it leads to. Just do it. Just go for it. This is something that I learned actually from Adam Carolla. Like he talks about when there's something that needs to be done. A lot of times people like he looks at it as will it hurt? Like, will doing this thing hurt? And if the answer is no, then just do it. Because it's like, will it hurt or will it help? Well, it doesn't really hurt. So just go for it.
It's like, are you going to be okay after you do what you do?
Yeah.
You know who taught me that? Nick Nicholas.
Yeah.
Nick Nicholas. Because I was so scared to speak in front of the room. He's like, your fear is going to hold you back from doing the thing that you want to do. He's like, if you get up there, are you going to be okay?
Yeah, you might be nervous. You might stumble on your words, but you'll be all right.
That's I learned that from Nick Nicholas. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah.
When I didn't want to, pull doors or do the marketing or do the thing. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
How did you? How was your experience? Because you worked at law firms.
Yeah.
Before you started the business. So what was your experience working in the law firms? How did you? Exactly
what you did. I mean, I started because I had zero experience working at a law firm.
Yeah.
Zero. So I started from the bottom. Now I hear. No.
Yeah.
I started from the bottom. I started as a secretary, not even a receptionist. I was answering phones. But I went to a law firm that was willing to train. So I went from answering phones to becoming a legal secretary, going into the war room, reading every file, learning about a complaint, learning about a response, learning about, reply, how many days does it take, and just learning. And I remember at times the law firm that I was working for, I was working in the office. The husband and wife were working from home. It was the lawyer, the attorney, and the paralegal, which was his wife, and then me, and I would work in the office. And when they would leave, Hastings and Hastings were right next door. So I would go into the war room and just read as much as I can. I started doing research when I needed help. I would actually go to Hastings and the girls there had a lot more experience. So then I would start asking questions and I taught myself. I went from making $10 with that law firm. I started with $10 an hour. I moved up to $12 an hour. I took my experience 2 years later to a different law firm, started making $19 an hour. I stayed at that law firm. I learned about probate. I learned about criminal law. I learned about trials and how to, just get involved, be more active And I felt a lot of times it was very intimidating because I did not know. But I was never scared to ask.
That
questions.
is huge. That is huge. That is another thing that I've learned is when you feel that feeling and it makes you want to go away.
Yeah.
Go away from whatever that thing is.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes.
Go get after it. Don't think about it too much. Just do it. Because the same thing with those classes that I took. Like those classes, like at first, you know, when I got my license to be a mechanic, the same thing. Like I got my federal license to be a mechanic, and I was just like, and at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I gotta stop. I gotta stop thinking about it and just fucking do it.
Do it.
Just go for it and sign up. And that's what I did.
And I always hung around, and it's funny because when Legal Shield came into my life, like I learned about associations, but for some reason, I always hung out with people that knew more than I. Yeah. When we would go to happy hour, I was hanging around with the attorneys. I was hanging out with the paralegals.
Yes.
And listening to the conversation that was happening around me. Always being curious. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I was very curious.
Be very curious. Genuinely curious.
Yes. People will be willing to teach. And I've always been surrounded by people that were willing to teach.
Me too. This is the thing, is that if you're not curious, if you're not asking questions, if you're just doing what you have to do for your day-to-day job, opportunities are not going to present themselves. Right. Nobody is going to just show up. I mean, they may. Actually, they will. And most people will turn them down.
Right.
And I've always been one of like the person, and it gets noticed. And it may seem like kissing ass or whatever, but the way I see it is like it's an opportunity for me to get another skill, to get better, to do something else. And anytime that somebody would come up like, hey, we need a volunteer right here.
There you go.
Me, right?
Yes.
I'll do it.
Yep.
What is it? You're sucking dicks behind the dumpster.
Shut the fuck
and
up.
I'm like, oh, all right, I guess.
Really, babe? For real?
You know, but
nice.
Before you like, just go for it.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get a new experience, a new lesson.
Yeah. Don't be the person that gets there exactly at 8:00 and leaves right at 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they needed me, I stayed.
Yeah.
I went from making $10 an hour to $19 an hour. This law firm that I was at, I loved everybody I worked with. I was very close to everybody I worked with. We had such a good time. But guess what? Another attorney recruited, it was on MySpace, reached out to me, serious, on MySpace, and said, I have a friend who's looking for someone.
Yeah.
What are you making there? I'll double it. I was making $19 an hour at this law firm. It was the hardest decision because I loved where I was and I was comfortable. I knew that I could retire at this firm.
Yeah.
I knew it. And I didn't know what I was going to. And when he said it, I'm like, you know what? I'll go for the interview. I always ace my interviews because I made the decision. You want this job? Get it.
Yeah.
And I went to the interview and I got the job and I doubled my income. Now I'm in North Scottsdale. Talking about a change of associations.
Holy shit.
My bars changed. I was no longer hanging. I wasn't hanging out at Jackson's on 3rd. I'm hanging out with Barcelona now. I'm at Barcelona's now in North Scottsdale.
Where they were having shootouts in the parking lots and shit.
I mean, everything changed. Everything changed from that point on.
Yeah.
You know? Making good money. That law firm is the law firm that I walked away from for Legal Shield. Do you know how much I look back?
That's even tougher.
Dude, I look back like at how I got some balls to leave that.
You got some ovaries.
You know what I'm saying? I got some ovaries.
You got some ovaries.
I got 2. But to be able to leave, I look back and I don't know if I would have done that like today, being older, because I was so, when I was younger, I was unstoppable. Like that's how I seen myself. Like I was unstoppable. I was spontaneous, taking risks. I had no kids, nothing holding me back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me to take that leap of faith, because that's what that was. It was a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it all worked out.
That's awesome. So I think bottom line is when an opportunity presents itself, if it makes you uncomfortable, go for it.
Yes.
Don't think about it too much because the more you think about it, you're going to start thinking, you know what? I don't think I have time for this. I don't know if it's going to be. Just do it. Just do it. It can't hurt.
No.
Well, is it going to hurt you? Probably
Are you
not.
going to live?
Is it going to help? May it help? It might help. Go for it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know, anytime that you have an opportunity to get more responsibility, you know, because I honestly, like you said, you were curious. I would look at the team lead and I would wonder to myself, not in like an envious way, not like, how the fuck did he get that? Like, how did he become a team lead?
More like, how can I get there?
I would think like, what did he do to become a team lead? Like, how can I become a team lead?
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
I've been fortunate that I've had some great team leads that actually helped me become a team lead.
Yeah.
And I've had some great managers that have helped me. But this is the thing. They were great, but I also had to push them to help me. And if you don't ask for the help, if you don't go looking for the help, it's not going to come.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to get out there
Kind of
and
like
go
the
for it.
secret, but with the action, you know?
But the biggest thing, like I was talking to you about it, is, I mean, this is something huge. Like there's guys that I've worked with and they are incredible guys, incredible. And they've been working, doing the same thing for 20 plus years, 30 years.
Yeah.
And if something was to happen and you get laid off, I mean, they're at retirement right now anyway, so they'll probably just retire.
Right.
But like, let's say you're 15 years in and you started out doing one thing and 15 years later, you're still doing that same thing, but you've worked your way up. If you get laid off, if something happens and you're going to go get a job doing that same thing, you're going to be working from the bottom to that. Because of the experience and the skill that I've amassed, my starting point is way higher than it was back when I first started. Like if I get a new job where I'm first starting out, it's not going to be starting out at whatever pay it was when I first started. It's a lot higher now because of the skills that I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of those skills were paid for by the company. A lot of times companies will give you this and people, I've said it on the podcast before. Sometimes people feel like companies take advantage of us. Like they tell you when to do this. They tell you when to go to lunch. They tell you when to be here. They tell you when to go home. But it doesn't have to be one-sided.
Right.
You can also take advantage of the opportunities that they provide for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go for it. Get it. Right? Do it. So, yeah. Yeah, I hope some of you guys out there found that useful. And I mean, we just try to bring out some stuff that hopefully makes some sense to you guys and helps you guys on your path.
Right.
You know, on your journey.
Yep. That was good, babe.
Thanks, babe.
I didn't know you were talking about that.
But and speaking, you know, like sometimes people on here or like we talk about, sometimes I may come off like, if you don't know me, as an asshole. But I was telling you earlier in the week how even when I'm trying not to be an asshole,
maybe you shouldn't just try not to be an asshole. Just don't be an asshole.
The thing. I'm not an asshole, but even when I try to do something nice, it seems like I'm an asshole. Like, so this is what happened. So a few years back, we bought a car from somebody, and he was a really nice guy, and he happened to fly. You were talking to him, and he flew Army helicopters.
Yeah.
And you got into a car accident. That car has been gone for years now.
Yeah.
For a couple of years now. And I was just driving the other day, and I was kind of thinking about the guy.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I sent him a message, and I'm like, "Hey, it's Miguel. We bought the car from you, and I was just thinking about you. You popped into my mind, and I just wanted to say hi. I hope you guys are doing well." And that's it.
Yeah.
And I told you, and you're like, "Oh, that was nice."
Aww.
You know?
I was like, "Aww."
And so the guy messages me back.
Yeah.
And I get busy. And I don't message him for like fucking 8 days. And throughout the week, like I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fuck, I forgot to respond.
Yeah.
And then
I've done that. We've all been guilty of it, baby.
And then I keep working. And then the next day it's like, oh, fuck, I need to. And then 8 days goes by and it's like, shit, I need to respond to this guy now because that's a fucking dick move. Like you send him a message, he messages you back, and then it's like, fuck it.
Yeah,
you know?
But you know what?
But
like,
anyway.
People understand.
Yeah,
like seriously, life is crazy. It's busy. And one thing after another. And it's funny because I get that. Like I do that.
Do you?
I do that. And then I feel like a freaking jerk. Like I told you, Sandra texted me. You know, she wanted to talk to me, and I was going to send her a text, and then either the phone rings or the kids are screaming, something happens, I'm distracted, and I totally forget, and she's always there for me. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you're such an asshole. You know, so I stopped what I was doing, and I sent her a text.
Yeah, that's what I did.
To let her know, but that's the thing. Like, it is what it is. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up for it. Apologize and just get right back on track.
Is that a Buddhist thing? That should be a Buddhist thing.
It is what it is.
But I think that we're about at that time. Before we get out of here, I just want to say thank you to all the new listeners. I had a list of all the new listeners, but there's so many people that have followed our Facebook page and Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. So for anybody that has recently started following us and listening to the podcast, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys following our podcast and sharing the podcast with those people that you know.
Are we going to do our plugs?
Yes. And I can't forget to mention this. My little brother, George.
Yes.
We're in quarantine and he started listening to the podcast from the very beginning. Yeah. And he's pretty much caught up now.
Shut up.
From the very beginning.
Are you serious?
He started from episode 1 and he's almost caught. Like I think he's like about a month or 2 away.
Wow.
So he's about 10 months into our podcasting journey right now. But no, thank you, George. And if you guys are stuck at the house and you don't have anything to do and you want to go back and listen to what this thing sounded like when we first started, because I'm sure
it didn't sound bad.
Well,
he was just in a different room.
He said it's kind of like, because he's listening to everything back to back to back, he said it's kind of cool to see, because he went from the first podcast to 10 months later in like a few weeks.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So I guess it'd be kind of cool because he can tell the differences and like getting more comfortable and all that. So anyway, if you guys are interested in doing that, that'd be awesome. But anyway, if you guys want to share the podcast with those that you know, you can go to oppositesattractpod.com. You can see all the links to subscribe on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find us at Opposite Pod. But if you go to oppositesattractpodcast.com, you'll see our YouTube there. You can also see the tab that says support the show. And if you click on the support the show tab at the top, it'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase on Amazon doesn't cost you anything extra. But we get a little kickback and it helps out the show. And we also have a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
We are a nationwide mobile notary agency. We do a lot of work with title companies and law firms. And if you have a document that needs to be notarized, feel free to hit us up.
Yeah, and if you want to go directly to Trust Inc., you can go to Trust INK, like Trust Inc., like ink and a pen, TrustINKUSA.com, and you can find all the information for Trust Inc. there. So,
and that is it. So until next time, you guys have fun, be safe.
Thank you for being with us.
And happy Mother's Day to all the mommies out there.
Bye.